And we are live. What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins, West Ham Fan TV, back once again with another West Ham Fan TV live and uncut with my old mate Ryan Archer. How you been this week, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. You caught me a bit off guard there. I was just sharing it on Twitter and Facebook, and I sort of heard you just start saying, "We're live." So yeah, I'm all right, mate. You? How you been?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. All things considering, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm in high spirits. Went out today, done a few bits and pieces, had a little trip down to Cobblers. I'm getting a bit agitated because I've got nothing to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you feel, mate. I know as much as you moan about work when you're in it, like when you're out of it, it's difficult. I've been there before, mate. But yeah, keep your head up, mate, and you never know, you'll be back in work soon enough.
I've had some wonderful messages from people, and thank you very much to everyone that has sent us some, quite beautiful messages, to be quite honest with you. I've got really loads of positive messages to read from. I'm still trying to wade through them all, got that many. I see a lot of people, before we get started, talking about the Pixel. Now, the Pixel is gone. See that? The Pixel's gone. It won't be returning. I made the Pixel redundant. Thank you to JP WHFTV who dropped us off a new webcam. I was going to get one, and I've got two. So could probably
hang on a minute. Just because you lost your job, don't mean the Pixel has to lose his job.
No, well, it was me or the Pixel, mate. And at the moment,
Shall I go and get a black permanent marker and draw a black dot on my wall behind me? So that's right.
Long live the Pixel, indeed. Yeah. So you've seen the title, mate. West Ham could be owned by the one and only Tony Cottee.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? I sort of knew about this a little while ago. It was only that when you done the title, and I see the story yesterday, that reminded me of when someone actually told me about this a little while ago, that Tony Cottee was going to be part of a consortium to take over the club. He's definitely got to have a lot of backing to buy them two out, but it's another fan owning the club. I know some people say Gold and Sullivan ain't fans. Listen, but I believe David Gold's a fan. David Sullivan, not too sure about. But yeah, it'd be if Tony Cottee's part of a sort of consortium that's going to buy the club, then if he's got someone that's going to back the club money wise, then I can't think of much better people to have in there as Tony Cottee, who's played for the club, loves the club, is a boyhood fan. So it could be win-win if it does come off.
The thing is, a lot of people in the comments at the moment just questioning whether he can afford it. He obviously wouldn't be the owner. He wouldn't be the sole owner anyway. It would be a consortium. I believe, if I'm not wrong, this has been touted around before. I think before when Brown was in charge. I think in the mid 2000s, maybe early 2000s.
Yeah, he's been linked with a club before. I think, yeah, you're right. They did try to sort of buy it. I think it was just before Magnuson took over the club. I think it was just around that time that he was looking to buy the club with a consortium. As you know, Tony Cottee can't afford the club on his own, so he's going to definitely have backing. And as I said, if he's part of someone that wants to buy the club, it's what a person to have in there from a West Ham fan's point of view.
Well, I was just about to say that we've got supposed West Ham fans in charge at the minute. You can't deny that Tony Cottee is a West Ham fan. He's got, I remember the old West Ham museum when he used to have his cup final boots in. Remember these Dr. Martens?
Yeah, that he wore to the 80 Cup final as a fan, not as a player, but yeah, look, he loves the club. I've been lucky enough to meet Tony Cottee a few times, and Tony Cottee's quite special to me because he was the first player I ever see score live at the bowling ground, and he was the first player that I ever met as well. So, a lot of respect for Tony Cottee.
We had the pleasure of, Graham did, because Tony Cottee was one of Graham's heroes. First time around, he was a little bit before my time. I was only a boy in arms when he was scoring goals the first time round. I definitely remember him the second time round, and he was one of my favourite players there. And I realised how loved he was. But we had the pleasure to interview Tony Cottee a little while ago for this Legends of the Bowling series, and he is so passionate about this football club. Believe me,
Mm.
talking to him off camera, Graham interviewed him, but I was operating the cameras on the day. He is so passionate about West Ham. And when I've seen him talking on Sky Sports and things like that, he understands. He understands what our frustrations are. He understands he's at the core of supporters. He really does understand. He come across a little bit frustrated when I spoke to him about the direction the club was going in. He's obviously was caught in two minds of what he can and can't say. It wasn't about that on the day, because he's still sort of affiliated with club and on certain things. He's obviously affiliated with Sky Sports, and we've seen what they have done to Sky Sports lately. But he's so passionate, and he just understands. And when I was speaking to him at the time, I could just feel his frustrations with the running of the football club, the infrastructure of the football club. And he does every now and then on either Talk Sport or Sky Sports or whatever, he does sort of sit there and say things that we are thinking as fans. Because, as I said, the family's probably fans. He's probably got a lot of friends that are fans. And, it would be a huge, huge step, I think, if he could get the money together and take over.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you said, he is a fan. He's a boyhood fan of West Ham. He's family of West Ham. He loves the club, And I went to an event, funny enough, with Graham. I took him because he loves the Boys of '86 season. It's his favourite season. I took him to a night with Cottee and McAvenny, September last year, I think it was. And Tony Cottee spoke very openly that night as well. Obviously, he said things there that he can't say on Sky Sports News and can't say on the club website and that, because he's got to protect himself. At the end of the day, he works for Sky Sports and he does stuff for the club as well at the moment. So, but he was very open and honest. And look, he was speaking as a fan. He wasn't speaking as a Sky Sport pundit or an ex-player. He was speaking as Tony Cottee, the West Ham fan. He loves the club. And you're right. If he can be part of a consortium that can take over West Ham and push us forward, then it'd be great.
Well,
great for the club.
It gets me into my next question. What one was said, "What is West Ham worth, please?" Well, there was a conference, I think, very recently. I don't know how recent it was, but I see it on YouTube with the beautiful and talented and shit don't stink Karen Brady talking about West Ham United and what she's done in terms of building the brand, and they value it at £1 billion. £1 billion, which I don't know how much the Glazers spent to buy Manchester United. I don't know how much the guys that bought Liverpool recently, but it would be far. It's a big investment. Investment.
If we owned the stadium and the land, then I'd say that's probably about right, around that sort of figure. But at the moment, because we don't own the stadium, West Ham's probably worth. No, West Ham as a club is probably worth between, I don't know, say 450, 600 million, going on what other clubs have been touted about, like Newcastle and things like that.
That's what I would have said. I would have said between £400 and £500 million. It's to be valued at £1 billion really sort of worries me, and I wonder where they get that valuation from. And I think the value,
unless they know something that we don't, and they know that we will own that stadium and we will own that land, and that is part of the package for when they can sell up. But we don't know that yet.
I can see us owning the stadium. I can't see us owning the land. I don't think they'll ever give us the land.
Where the stadium is, they can give us that bit.
I've blocked someone. Sorry, mate. I blocked someone called Galaxy Techno Beats. I'll have a look into that, mate. I might have done it by mistake one day. I know Elias very well, and Marshmallow Gaming's asking me to unblock him. I can't do that at the moment, but I'll have a look into it straight after the show. Go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, if we could probably own the stadium and the land that the stadium's on, but it wouldn't be the whole of the Olympic Park, I don't think.
No, I don't even think we'd probably have to still pay rent for the land that it's on, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, but the main thing is owning the stadium. That's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So £1 billion?
It's a bit too much for West Ham when you consider that, like, Man United was only bought for like what 700, 800 million, and they're probably the biggest club in world football. Despite the run they've been on the last few years, Liverpool's probably near enough that, you know, to put West Ham in that same bracket is an absolute joke. But as I said, maybe they know something we don't know, and maybe it might include the stadium.
Well, the thing is, it worries me because if they value it at $1 billion, that's what they're going to want to sell it for, $1 billion. And, you know, that might just put potential investors off. They will take less eventually. But I can't see anyone paying £1 billion for it. You know,
when we're losing to Notts County in League Two in about 4 years' time.
Yeah, well, there's a different. Someone just said, Andy Wall said we're worth 300, 400 million pounds tops.
I mean, bearing in mind they bought the club for what was it, 90, 100.
They actually bought the club for 50 million.
Yeah, so
they paid for the club.
Even if they sold it for 350, 400 million, they've still made a huge profit. So
yeah, that's the thing. He's a very acute property investor, is Sullivan, and he obviously is used to not selling stuff for, you know, he's not going to sell it off cheap. Yeah, so I don't know. It all depends. I just can't get my head around £1 billion valuation. I can't get my head around it. It'd have to be sort of a Man City-esque takeover, I think.
It'd have to be a multi-billionaire. Yeah. If they're going to pay $1 billion for the football club, they're obviously going to have money to invest into the team. And I can't see Golden Sullivan holding out for £1 billion. Surely they know deep down that they're not going to get that for West Ham.
Neil from Down Under says, evening all from South Australia at 5:56 a.m. on a Friday morning.
Evening, mate.
Evening to you. Thanks for joining us. Whorehead 12 says, mind you, they're businessmen, not good ones, but they know what they're doing, what's going on over there. Yeah, exactly. That's, you know, I've got no idea. We need some rich Arabs to come and buy West Ham, just as I've said. West Ham fan TV, can you please explain the title, please? I've missed this whole story. Rewind it, mate, when it comes on YouTube.
Well, just to quickly sum it up, is that, yeah, Tony Cottee's been linked with a club with a consortium to sort of take over the football club to buy Golden Sullivan out.
Tom G says, any idea who's backing Cottee? No, but I remember him. I remember a name from the mid-90s, early 2000s, Michael something.
I'm not sure.
Some sort of investor or something like that. I can't really remember his full name, but I remember a guy that was linked with Cottee years ago called Michael something, massive, apparently a massive West Ham fan. But I don't know. I wouldn't know. He hasn't actually confirmed it. All he's just said is he's not ruling it out. So I think
he ain't going to publicly come out and say that he's interested at the moment. But there might be something, you know, he might have something.
Tabor, that was his name, Michael Tabor.
So yeah, it'd be interesting.
Absolutely. Anything else?
Well, obviously, massive game of the weekend, mate.
Southampton game a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, well, post-match pint, sort of. If you could hear it, yeah, we sort of went over the game. It was a massive 3 points considering the other results that day. Bournemouth got a great point at home to Chelsea, and obviously Watford turning over Liverpool. How many people see that one coming? So yeah, it was a massive 3 points, and this week's even bigger as well because we could find ourselves back in the bottom three. That's how tight it is. So yeah, but the Southampton performance, I mean, Haller, Antonio, and Bowen linked up well together. Bowen was unreal, unbelievable for his home debut. full home debut. Yeah, unreal. Took
What
his
did
goal well.
Table run?
Something different. Someone that made them runs. I mean, if you look at it back on the replays on when I watched Match of the Day for his goal, he could have just stayed central and not made that run, but he took a gamble. Great ball from Fornals, and it was a great little dink over the goalkeeper. He tried against Liverpool. He hit Alisson straight in the face. This time it's worked, and he just makes them little runs. And it's exciting to have a player up there because you've obviously got Haller who's going to win the balls in the air, Antonio who's just going to run at you with pace, and then now you've got someone like Bowen. And as long as them three can stay fit and consistent, then they'll keep us up. They'll keep us up alone.
Absolutely. Drew Crowder and Blue says PMP said it was on private view for some reason. Please answer. I was editing a little bit out of it, to be honest. I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with the sound of it. I was furious, to be quite honest with you. I'll go into that a different day. I really don't want to go into that now because we've got some discussions to have, I think, about the venue. But it is what it is. It was spoiled, to be quite honest with you, and I'm going to leave it at that. Darren Hutchinson, the only simple fact I can think of, if we don't know all the money bits and pieces, do they not take the money out of the club? Who knows? Well, this is a huge debate at the minute, Darren. They quite openly say we don't take money out of the club. Well, I know that for a fact. They don't take a salary or anything like that, but they're obviously earning interest, and the interest would be more than a salary. You know, I don't know whether interest is tax free. Is it right? Do you know?
I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but interest is obviously tax free. They've taken, a good amount of dividends out of the loan that they give to the club. And when you think about people like Mike Ashley, who's one of the most despised men in football, lent Newcastle money on an interest-free basis because he wanted them, he wanted them to do something. Then the burden on the club. I don't see how when you've got someone like Mike Ashley doing it, how they can turn around and say we've never taken money out of the club. It's like Barclays saying I've never taken money out of your account. They have, because they earn interest on investment. Yeah. And things like that.
Banks wouldn't stay open if they didn't take money from you interest-wise, would they?
Exactly. So they cannot turn around and say we've never taken money out of the club, because they are within their rights, Premier League rules, to to lend them money for nothing. So they can't turn around. And this is the thing about Golden Sullivan at the minute. Their PR is in overdrive. I think something like the head of communications just left because he felt. We'll talk about that in a minute. He found it too difficult to work under Karen Brady. There's all different sorts of ideas at the moment floating around the internet about how to get her out of her position. But it's a farce. They can't. They're trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. They can't anymore. They can't. It's impossible. It's impossible to pull the wool over people's eyes. The internet won't allow it. 20, 30 years ago, maybe might have been able to do this, might have been able to do that. Too many people in contact with each other that know too much information between them. And nobody knows the whole facts, but people between them know the facts, and that's why. And now the mainstream media are starting to learn the facts, and that means the world are trying to are going to know the facts. So
yeah, they've got more people on their backs now than they did 2 years ago. The media used to always blame the fans, saying, "Oh, they don't understand what the problem is," and all things like that. But now they're starting to look into it. They understand what the fans have been sort of kicking up a fuss about for the last 2 or 3 years.
What do you make of him saying about that he's upset? You've seen the Sky article, right?
What one? The David Sullivan one?
Yeah, the one talking about the owners, about the guy. I forget his name now. The guy talking about about David Sullivan, how he's upset over the protest and he takes it personally and all of that sort of stuff. What did you make of that article?
Was this the one by Terry? Was it that article?
No, his name was Shavar, I think.
Oh, right. No, I don't think I've seen that one then. But I mean, going on, right, let's about David Sullivan and Gold being upset. In a way, of course, they're going to be upset. They don't want people slagging them off week in, week out, and threatening protests, and because it's bad for them. So in a way, they're going to be upset for that reason. But then they've got to understand that they've caused the upset, especially in the last. I think it's got a lot worse in the last sort of season, in the last year. It's got a lot more worse than it was even before in the last protests. So in them last protests where they could have made change, and look, don't get me wrong, they have invested into the squad, probably not as much as we want, but a lot more than what they have and that any West Ham owner has in probably our history in the last 2 years. They obviously went out and got Pellegrini. We all wanted a top manager. That didn't work out. They've gone back to David Moyes, which wasn't a popular choice with a lot of fans. So yeah, I can sort of understand the way. Yeah, they are upset from a personal point of view, but as I said, they need to realise why.
I would say this: some people create their own storm, then wonder why it rains, and that is my position on it. It's
oh yeah, 100%. As I said, they've caused it themselves, so they've got to understand that they're going to get a bit of they're going to get flack and they're going to get slagged off. That's part of being anything in football. Player, manager, fans.
On the WHFTV podcast today, and I was explaining it to them. It made me think about a few things. It's that the problem with them is, and I've said this before, they're a pair of recluses. They don't get out much. They don't get out to the outside world much. I think they prefer to stay at home. David Gold is an old man. He's he's very ill at times. And David Sullivan, I think he's always been a bit like that. He just likes to lock himself up.
The only time I ever see David Sullivan is at the boxing ringside. That's the only time you ever see him out.
He only comes out to events and West Ham games and stuff. But the thing is, if you are only relying on what is being told to you by outside people and yes men and all that, you're never going to understand the full story. And that is a thing that I've been telling them and asking them for a couple of years now. They need to touch base with fans. They need to know what their gripes are. They listen. They send someone else along. Normally it's Karen Brady or one of her little cronies or someone that works for the club, and then the message never gets back. And they don't. I don't think they actually understand what. And every time we sort of have a moan, I'll answer that one in a minute, Gaz. Every time sort of people have a moan, they think, oh, they're moaning because we're not spending money. We're not moaning because you're not running the football club properly. You're not. You aren't setting us up for the future. It's a very short. We've gone over this so many times. It's such a short-term plan for what I think will be short-term ownership now, and you can't keep on. Sunderland found this out. You can't keep on blagging it every season because one season you're going to get caught out. And look where they are now. They need to listen. Their egos won't let them listen. Their egos won't let them listen to people that they believe don't know what they're talking about. But as a collective, we do know what we're talking about. I'm not saying that they can come to me and I've got all the answers for them, but they can go to a fan base, and that is where I think the relationship has broken down. I do believe now that it's beyond repair. It's gone. Gaz, WHU, do you think you expect too much? No, I don't.
See, from when you talk to fans sort of outside of West Ham, and they look at the situation and they look at the owners we've got, they talking to people that I spoke to that support other clubs, they see Gold and Sullivan as West Ham fans, so they've got the club at heart. They've invested heavily in the squad. We've got a 60,000 seater stadium that sells out every week. You know, when you talk to fans, especially fans that are in the lower leagues, they must look at us and think, why are we complaining? You know, they'd give anything to have owners like that, and they'd give anything to have £200 million investment and a 60,000 seat stadium that's sold out every single home game and things like that. So, but then when you start explaining to them certain situations and that, it's so from an outsider's point of view, you can sort of, it might look like that. Yeah, what are West Ham fans moaning about? But it's not until you actually listen to the West Ham fans and they explain.
Well, the thing is, selling out every week, it's got nothing to do with them. We've always had a very, very loyal fan base. Always. For as long as I've been alive, and as long as my dad's been alive, and as long as my granddad's been alive.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it as we know, but I'm just saying it as a fan from outside.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with them. We are one of the most people can't deny it. We're one of the most passionate bunch of fans in the country. You know, we put our money where our mouth is when it comes to supporting the club, and you know, when it gets to a point when people are stopping going because of the owners, then in my mind, it's the owners that have got to go because they're not living up to promises and all that. And just to answer Gaz's question, I think you expect too much. I expect nothing more than I was told when I was asked to put my money up to go to this new stadium. I expect nothing more than they say. I've not made the promises. I've not made the rules. They made the promises. They made the rules. I just put my money. They asked me. It's like if I was an investor. If you was an investor, Gaz, and I come to you and says, "Listen, if you invest your money, this will be the top business in the world," and it ends up being a fucking greasy spoon cafe at the end of the road. You know, I'm not delivering on my promises, and I would be held to account. That's all I expect. I don't expect nothing more. I didn't say it. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't ask for it. They told me what they was going to do. They told me what the stadium was going to be. They told me what my money was going to go towards, and it hasn't. So that's my answer. Let's have a look. Question for Nicky or Ryan. I know Gold and Sullivan have spent money, but for me, they are the worst two owners that we've ever had. That's getting some. And Karen Brady should not be there. That's from Terence Crane. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean,
we've had some bastard owners, believe.
Yeah, we've had some shitty owners. I mean, in my time, I don't really remember the Kearns. Too young for that. Terence Brown, Magnuson when he took over. You know, Magnuson tried to build us. You know, he went out and he spent money at the time. You know, they went out and bought some decent players back in then. They spent a lot of money on wages as well. It didn't. Once again, that didn't work out. I wouldn't say Golden Sullivan are the worst, but as I said, and I said this, you know, if you can go back through the West Ham Fan TV archives, I've said this many times that it don't matter if we go out and win the FA Cup, if we win the Premier League, these owners will always be remembered for the owners that took us away from Upton Park, and that's always going to be with them. You know, so I wouldn't say they're the worst because you know they have invested. They have invested in the team. Whether people think that's enough, probably not. But hopefully, you know, hopefully it get better, mate. And they back us in the summer. They back David Moyes as long as we're a Premier League club.
Just this is the thing about it, right? They need to let if they're not going anywhere just yet, swallow your pride, drop the ego, and employ people that actually know football to run the football club, because I don't think they do. Miles Avery, seeing as Robbie unfortunately has some personal issues right now, will there be some content with AFTV? I actually went into their studios today expecting to see him, and yeah, he has got some personal issues. I wish him nothing but the best, but probably not unless we come up with something tomorrow. There probably won't be any content with AFTV this time round. I'm hearing he may be at the game on Saturday, but it all depends on his personal circumstances. But let me just say, Rob, we're thinking about you, mate. hope everything gets better. What's going on Saturday? Someone's donated $1.99. Says Josh Brooks White. Do we go all out Saturday? Hope you're good, Nicky. I am good, thank you, Josh. Do we go all out? I don't think we've got a choice.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the game on Saturday. Yeah, of course, we've got to do what we've done at Liverpool. We've got to do what we've done against Southampton. We've got to, we can't. I mean, Arsenal are sitting in 10th place at the moment. I think they're on 37 points. I mean, when have you ever known Arsenal in March to be on only 37 points? It's been a crazy season. I mean, I don't think they've lost in the league since the new year. In the new year, I've known they've lost obviously in Europa League, but I know they draw quite a lot of games. So look, if you offered us a point now at the Emirates, of course we'd probably take it. But if we can show a little bit of fight like we did at Anfield, then there's no reason why we can't go to Arsenal and take all 3 points. But then Arsenal on their day could destroy us 3 or 4-0. So we've got to be on our game. We have to be.
I think we can bully them. I really do. I think we'll lose. I just got a feeling we'll lose. But I've been wrong before. That's not mine.
I don't think we'll lose. I don't think we'll lose. I don't think we'll lose. I'm not saying we're going to win, so that obviously leaves a draw. But I don't think we'll lose. I think we're going to go there. I think that the team's got a little. I know it was a. I said to you the other on post match pint as well that defeat at Liverpool had a touch of like that season under curves when we lost to Spurs at home, and it sort of gave us a kick up the arse to go on a good run. And I think the Southampton are a decent team, and we've gone out and beaten 3-1. We've got to take that into the Emirates. Arsenal, I know they've got some really good players. Aubameyang's world class, but on our day, Bowen, once again, as long as we start with the same team, if we don't change it, we've got a chance.
ISO3, why are all West Ham fans bald? There's 2 of us sitting here, mate, and 1 of us is bald.
I'm 36.
Why are you stupid? That's what I would say. Joey or Tony Cottee would be a shout. He would be a shout, mate, absolutely. Go back to the Arsenal game. We could get something at Arsenal. I don't know. This is one of them things where it all depends on what West Ham turn up. If the one at Liverpool turns up, if the one at Southampton turns up, we've got a hell of a chance. A hell of a chance. Arsenal, they're hot and cold at the moment. What one of them turns up. It all depends on what. If the West Ham turn up that went to Manchester City, we're going to get our arse handed to us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we thought that was going to happen at Anfield, and West Ham shocked us. We could have walked out of Anfield with all 3 points, which no one was expecting. Arsenal's back 4 is all over the place. Our back 4.
They're a little bit more good now since Arteta come in.
Yeah, I mean, Ngakia, Ogbonna, Diop and Creswell, they were solid on Saturday. I know they got caught out for Southampton's goal, but that's because we pushed too far forward and just left Creswell exposed. But look, as long as the midfield is where the game's going to be won or lost. So Declan Rice, Noble. It's a shame that Souček's out, but Fornals was unbelievable against Southampton. 2 assists. So he's going to be full of confidence going into the game.
How good has he been, Roy?
Yeah, do you know what? He reminds me so much of Lanzini from 2 years ago when Lanzini was probably at his best form for West Ham. It's like any player. Once they get an assist or a goal, and they go on their little run, they can't wait to get back on the pitch and keep doing it. And that's what I see with Fornals. I mean, that ball for Antonio's goal, the weight of the pass.
Even the Fornals one, mate, that was superb.
Yeah.
The Bowen one.
Yeah, the Bowen pass. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the through ball to him, but the ball to Antonio, it was straight over the top into Antonio's path, and it was a great finish from Antonio. But Fornals, once he gets that ball, he's straight away looking up and he's looking for them runs, and that's what I was saying with Antonio and Bowen either side of Haller. You know, we're going to get chances on Saturday, and this is the thing. We know we're going to get chances. It's about taking them.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking of balls, mate. Look at that Haller one. I see that on a replay. Jesus, that
the Rabona.
Yeah, that was salt and half.
Yeah, and if that goes in, you know, that's a contender for goal of the month.
You know what that shows, mate? Confidence.
Yeah, and what just look at that. Haller got a goal, and then he's doing things like that. That's what players they feed. They feed on confidence. That's what they want to do. You know, Haller has been getting a lot of stick, and rightly so. Sometimes people call him lazy and that, and I sort of you can understand that because we want our players to bust the gut sometimes. But listen, we're not professional football players, and when you're running around and for that in the high tense of the Premier League, it's difficult sometimes. And Haller is not that sort of player. He's used to playing with people at top. And how many times have we seen this season when you put someone up top with him, he plays well. So it ain't rocket science, is it, to know that you play people up there with him? It's even that you go back to the beginning of the season when Hernandez played with him. Not many games, but he looked a lot more better.
Cole Womby says, just seen Nicky's tiny temper, so good. Listen, I was fucking out of it on Saturday. I must say, I drank a little bit too much before I got to the game. I sobered up quite a bit on a little walk towards, but I was pasted. I didn't do myself any justice. I could do it better. And if you fucking keep subscribed to this channel, maybe I'll do it the last live and uncut of the season. I'll do the full proper one. Question for Nicky or Ryan: if we play the same team 2-1? That's not a question. That's a statement. But yeah,
no, if we start with the same team on Saturday, then yeah, as I said, there's no reason why we can't go to the Emirates and get a result. And I would say sort of cause an upset, you know, because no one's expecting us apart from West Ham fans. I don't think I've seen any of the sort of pundits around the country backing West Ham to go to the Emirates and get a result. So listen, it's us West Ham fans, you know, if that's what we think, we'll be there on Saturday, over 3,000 fans, you know, singing from beginning to end, and we'll be cheering our team on to get them 3 points.
I've got a couple here. Lanzini to feature again this season if we stay injury free. He'll
be in the squad. He won't start, not with the form that Fornals is in, but then if someone picks up an injury, Lanzini's got to be ready to go.
Candyman says, I think Nolan's making an impact. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I think he is. We said it on post-match point. You know, you've noticed that Antonio on corners is starting to stand in front of the goalkeeper, just like Nolan used to do. You see him up on the touchline. You know, you don't see a lot of sort of assistant managers or coaches up on the touchline with managers, but David Moyes has sort of allowed that, and that's a good thing. You see Nolan shouting at players while Moyes is giving instructions to certain players, and I can imagine him in the dressing room. You know, he was a great captain for West Ham, one of the best we've had in a long time. It's not only what you do on the pitch, it's what you do off the pitch as a captain. And Kevin Nolan's only recently, he was playing for West Ham, 4 years ago. So he knows the club. There's still players there that he knows. So you got to respect Kevin Nolan.
Absolutely. Chris Harris, Nicky, I heard your news recently by JP on the fan camp. Just wanted to wish you well, buddy, and hope you get back to better and more stable times soon, mate. Yeah. Thank you very much, mate. It's a bit of a tough time for me at the minute, but you know, as one door closes, another door opens, and all of that sort of stuff. Metal in both legs has donated £5. Says cheers, Nicky. But yeah, going back to it, it is a bit of a tough time. I've spoke about it a lot, not hiding behind it. The thing is, along with my pals Ryan, Scott, Dan, Graham. I mean, Graham works at the same place I got made redundant from. He's taking it a little bit too much to heart. But I've got a good network around me, good support of people around me. So I'm sure that we will be okay. I'll be honest with you, I want to do this for a living. I want to create content for a living. I think we all do. We'll see what we can do. We're going to sort something out. Neil Walker, the best form of defence is attack. If we sit back, they will punish us. Their biggest weakness is their defence, so we need to keep a high line pushing up on them. That's the thing. With the addition of Bowen as well, who I thought was brilliant. Yama might be back. I'm hearing rumours he might be back in contention very, very, very soon.
They're looking to get him back for sort of around the Spurs game, so it's a couple more weeks yet.
But we've got and I've said this all season. We've got the players to hurt teams. It's just
I'll be honest with you, mate. If Antonio's on top form on Saturday, he's going to ruin their defence. He's going to make them panic because Antonio's one of them awkward players, and he's fast, but he's got strength, and he will just brush people off the ball. He'll knock it. How many times do you see him knock it past someone and lose a race? It's very rare. Very rare.
Yeah, not many.
And he's strong as an ox, and he will cause them problems, and so will Bowen. And but then again, they've got the strikers to Lacazette, Aubameyang. They've got the 4 players to punish us. So it's going to be an interesting game on Saturday. 2 teams that are going to go for it, I think.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. JGM, why not set up a Patreon subscription like Hammers Check? You deserve to earn a living from this because you work hard, mate. Listen, that is an option. We're looking at options at the moment. We would rather not go down that route, but it is a route we could go down. But it's not for me, is it? I haven't created this channel by myself. All the boys have created the channel as well. So it's a bit difficult if we set up a Patreon and then I'll take all the money, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? We've always been. We've always shared it. We've always bought our tickets and stuff. So
I'll be ringing you up, going, Nick, lend me a score.
Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. It's obviously got to sustain. The thing is, it may be.
We don't want to say too much yet, but there might be something coming up in the future. That will make this channel sort of full time. Maybe not for everyone. Maybe even if one of us or 2 of us, maybe, but. There could be something coming up, and if it all comes off, it'll be very exciting.
Absolutely, but it is an option. I've been looking at sort of setting up tiers and stuff, so we'll see. I just don't want to. Sort of promise something that we can't deliver, if that makes sense. So I don't want to turn around and say, yeah, pay a tenner a month and all that. Then all of a sudden, I've got to fuck off to Los Angeles or whatever, and the content don't go out. I've always been a bit wary about that. I do understand that it is an option. We're thinking about it, but
mate, if people pay tenner a month and make this full time for me, I'll take them on my shopping trips with me. I'll put it live. I'll film it. Come shopping with Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicky is the GOAT, says Football Plus. Thank you very much. Anthos Ladomatus. Do you boys think Moyes has got the bottle to replace Noble with Souček? Yes, I do.
Yeah, I do as well. I think if Souček was fit now, he'll be in front of Noble, because Noble's played a lot of football over the last few weeks. So
I would probably think, right, it would be at Noble's request. That's what I would say. It's not about David Moyes having a bottle. It would be Mark Noble saying to him, look, my legs are tired, my legs are weary, and that he's going to do a better job. I think.
Go on. Sorry, mate. Go on.
I just think it would be, his wishes. He wants West Ham to do well as well. Look, I don't wear this T-shirt for nothing on WestHamFanTVmerch.com.
Just quickly, mate. I mean, before we go, I don't know if you've seen the breaking news in the last half hour that no Premier League games this weekend. The players are going to be shaking hands and things like that. I mean, what do you make of all that? I mean, because for me, all right, they're not going to be shaking hands like before the game and that, but they're going to be touching each other during the game. So it's I don't know, mate. It's when does it end? I mean, the media are sort of pushing this corona. I mean, yes, we've all got to be wary of it, but I think it's blown a bit out of proportion, The
thing is, it's the media. They're scaremongering about things. I mean, there are people like countries now that are banning sort of like large gatherings of crowds and things. And if it gets bad here, they might pass a law or something to say that we might not be able to have football games and all that stuff.
Well, in Italy, they've called off all games. They've called off the rugby. All schools and colleges are closed, but there's been nearly 4,000 cases in Italy. There's been 150, I think, here.
80.
So
80.
no, it's gone up now. It's
Gone
about
up now.
100. It's about 150 now. So it's yeah, I think it's going to be one of them things in 2 weeks' time. You know, it's
Look, it's not
you
my fault.
probably
I
yeah.
remember SARS. I remember I had the swine flu. I had it. I caught it from Mexico when we went to Mexico. You know, it is one of them things. It's scaremongering by the press. Look, I do understand that people with respiratory, you know, illnesses and the elderly at risk, but this is a severe case of flu. The
Yeah.
virus is a severe case of flu. It's a
I mean, they said the other day there was a stat that over 500 people a year die of the normal flu anyway, but that never gets mentioned. So
a couple of years ago, I think 18,000 people died in America of the flu.
yeah,
You know, flu. You can't live your life being scared of the flu. Otherwise, you'll never go out. David Tubman will never get the flu.
just stock up on the Beechams. But yeah, I mean, one more thing before we go, mate. I don't know if you see my tweet earlier. 4 years ago today, when we beat Everton 3-2. I mean, you remember that day. One of the best away days we've enjoyed, especially not only doing this channel, but as a West Ham fan. It's one of them away days that I'll never forget because we never really win at Goodison. 2-0 down. They miss a penalty and we come back and win 3-2. You know, what an unbelievable game that was.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I wore the shirt. Memories.
Yeah,
the good days.
All right, we're gonna go. My family's in LA. She wants me to call her up, so my phone's not charging because of the water thing again, Chloe. So apologies. I'll call you on Facebook straight after.
I hope you're enjoying LA, Chloe and Jamie. I see Jamie driving the plane.
Yeah.
I hope he got you there. I hope he got you there all safe. when he was doing Lego, and that's proper first class. That is.
Yeah, Lego on the table,
mate.
Absolutely.
Wait till he starts going on holiday with his mates when he's older and he has to fly EasyJet and things like that. Anyway.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV Live and Uncut. We'll be back with a build up to the Arsenal game. We'll be back after the Arsenal game with all the fan cam, post match pint. No post match pint. It's away. Post match reaction. Sorry.
Post match piss up.
Hopefully, we'll catch up with Robbie and all the guys there. One thing left to say, Ryan.
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.